Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lords of the Night. With me, as always, your Lord of... I'm sorry, I had to stop because I almost said penetration again.
God damn it, monkey.
Your Lord of Punishment. Say hi, Scribe.
Hi, Scribe.
And your Lord of Pennies. Say hello, Satsu.
You backed out like a bitch.
And I am your Lord of Pain, and I'm gonna use the pain card today as my excuse. How's that? Okay. Thanks for going with me on that. I am the Ranting Monkey, and we're here to entertain you for 2 hours at least.
Thereabouts.
Yeah. Mash dropped us a donation early. Let me get this before I forget about it. Thank you, Mash. First, the poor upset trans at GameStop. Then the raging vape store clerk, and finally Grover drops the F-bomb on Sesame Street. What other surprises does 2018 have for us before it ends? Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow.
How are you guys tonight? How you doing, Satsu?
I am good. I still kind of going off that high from last night's stream. So even though I'm tired, I'm like excited for tonight. So.
And Scribbles, how you doing?
I had an uneven day. Work nonsense, but that's beside the point. But did you know that we have a shout out in a major TV show?
Do we?
Yeah. So for reasons that make absolutely no sense, I started binging the TV series version of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, okay.
And in episode 3, they're dropping us some lore exposition on some things. And what was it? There's a special knife or something they're discussing. And one guy says, what's that for? And he says, well, it's for the Lords of the Night. And I'm like, oh, shit. That's us.
That's us, yo.
Retroactively famous. Kind of
retrieve that.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, what? Oh, my God. And I was like, oh, wait. They're talking about vampires. All the same. Cool. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you, Terry Diamonis. Would have been better if you fucked up Satsu's introduction. You could have claimed you said Lord of Penetration.
Wow, that was flawless.
That sounds like you got a really cheap date.
Penetration.
She got that penetration going on.
Ready.
Last night, guys, we had an excellent stream over there on 2 Cents Plus. If you missed it, come watch tonight because we'll have another good one. We accidentally found a great map. We had a lot of fun. Gave away a game, and we're giving away another one tonight. Tonight, we're giving away Injustice, Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition.
Yeah. Ultimate Edition. What does that give you?
I have no damn clue.
All the stuffs and things.
All the stuffs. But that'll be on 2 Cents Plus right after this, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else we need to get into before we get into the news there, guys? I know the saying. I'm not skipping that part. I'm wondering if we have anything else to talk about.
I'm glad I've given you a complex about
You really have.
Yay. I can't think of anything in particular now.
Nah, bro.
All right. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit the like button, guys. And share our stuff. Share our stuff. Share anybody you like stuff, because that's how YouTubers get known these days, because YouTube doesn't give a fuck. Scribbles, what do we have for news today?
Well, Monkey, do you like marches?
I find them to be rather boring, but I like this story.
So, in a sign of absolute total tolerance, diversity, and inclusion, California organizers cancel the Women's March due to overwhelmingly white participants.
Too many honkies.
The organizers of the annual Women's March have decided not to hold a rally in Eureka on January 19th as previously planned, because they say participants do not represent the diversity of the area.
Uh-huh.
They may live in Eureka. They may be residents there. They may be representing themselves as residents of the city or people who believe in this cause. But no, they're the wrong optics, apparently. Quote, this decision was made after many conversations between local social change organizers and supporters of the march, organizers said in a press release. They said organizers will continue to meet and discuss how to broaden representation to create an event that represents Humboldt County. Quote, up to this point, the participants have been overwhelmingly white, lacking representation from several perspectives in our community, the press release went on to say. Because as you know, skin color determines perspective.
I thought this was about women, not color.
No, I mean, you set aside the fact that it's only about women, but then men show up to the Women's March, so it's about participants in general.
All right.
I assume, quote, instead of pushing forward with crucial voices absent, the organizing team will take time for more outreach. Our goal is that planning will continue and we will be successful in creating an event that will build power and community engagement through connection between women that seek to improve the lives of all in our community, unquote. Unless you're white, apparently.
What they need to do is put out flyers that say, white women, bring your one black friend.
Or just state what the official white quota is.
Oh, the last line of this is just classic, but I'm almost there. The group said it is exploring holding an event in March to celebrate International Women's Day. Anyone interested in helping organize these events are welcomed and encouraged to attend, unless you're white. I'm adding that part at the end because that's what they're telling us. But here's the last line. The Eureka's Women's March Organizing Committee encourages local supporters to attend the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration in Eureka on January 21st, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And what did Martin Luther King Jr. promote?
Well, color blindness. Captain Jack, thank you. Grabs Ranting Monkey by the collar. Take my shackles.
Damn.
Shackles? Monkey, wait, is our viewer a slave?
The monkey is.
Well, no, I mean, but is Captain Jack currently in bondage somewhere?
He may be.
He's passing it off to monkey. You can have him.
When I read that part of the article, the end, I scrolled back up to see what the date of the Women's March was.
Mm-hmm.
They scheduled it 2 days before Martin Luther King.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
I hate people. But yeah, this is the same Women's March, by the way, that doesn't like Jews either, guys. So Jews and honkies are out.
Well, the article I saw earlier said that it was canceled because of the because of their support of that fucking racist dude.
Linda Sarsour and they're supportive Farrakhan. There's several of them.
Farrakhan. Yep.
No, they actually put out a statement of where they actually said because of too many white people.
You think they said that to try to cover the other things they'd?
It could be.
Yeah, it's like, well, we'll put this up there, and that'll sort of like they'll be blinded by the white.
You can get away with saying, "Don't we have too many white people?" You cannot get away with saying there's too much Jew.
That is probably true. Yeah.
Not today. You can't. You could a couple of months ago because the Women's March basically did, but not since the shooting in Pittsburgh. Was it Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, how about a cat fight in our nation's capital?
Sure.
All right.
Two cats
McCaskill
fighting.
Ocasio Cortez fires back at McCaskill over criticism of rhetoric. This is just, it's good to know that our elected representatives and officials and everything are acting like adults, just like our president half the time. Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Saturday responded to outgoing Senator Claire McCaskill on Twitter after the Missouri Democrat referred to the incoming Congresswoman as a, quote, bright, shiny new object, unquote, earlier this week. Yes. Quote, not sure why former Senator McCaskill keeps going on TV calling me a thing and shiny object, but it's pretty disappointing, Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat from New York, wrote on Twitter. Quote, McCaskill promised she'd 100% back Trump up on his anti-immigration rhetoric and lost. In Missouri, almost all progressive ballot issues won, her tweet continued. McCaskill lost her seat this past November while running for her third term in Missouri. In an interview with CNN earlier this week,
Keep going. I'm sorry.
In an interview with CNN earlier this week, McCaskill criticized Ocasio-Cortez's embrace of left-wing policy proposals, saying she wasn't sure, quote, what she's done yet to generate that kind of enthusiasm, unquote, and warned the Democratic Party against pursuing an agenda considered too liberal in certain parts of the country. Quote, I don't know her, McCaskill told CNN. McCaskill told CNN earlier this week when asked if she'd consider Ocasio-Cortez a crazy Democrat like the one she decried on the campaign trail. Quote, I'm a little confused why she's the thing, but it's a good example of what I'm talking about. A bright, shiny new object came out of nowhere and surprised people when she beat a very experienced congressman, and so now she's talked about a lot, McCaskill added. I'm not sure what she's done yet to generate that kind of enthusiasm, but I wish her well. I hope she hangs the moon. Hangs the moon? Is that a lynching reference? Oh! Oh, sorry. But I hope she also realizes that the parts of the country that are rejecting the Democratic Party, like a whole lot of white working class voters, need to hear about how their work is going to be respected and the dignity of their jobs and how we can really stick to issues that we can actually accomplish something on. McCaskill concluded, the rhetoric is cheap, getting results is a lot harder.
She's not wrong.
Ocasio-Cortez continued to tweet about McCaskill later Saturday, writing, quote, I'm also not sure why McCaskill is covering for the GOP by saying they secretly think Trump is nuts. Nobody cares, Ocasio-Cortez wrote. Trump is melting down our institutions and inciting division between people. At any time, GOP could have checked him and choose not to. Could have checked him and choose not to. Maybe chose if you're talking in the past tense. Anyway, they're accomplices. They're accomplices. Okay.
I just want to go back to what Cortez said. Because she said McCaskill promised she'd 100% back Trump up on his anti-immigration rhetoric and lost.
Mm-hmm.
In Missouri, almost all progressive ballot issues won. She does realize that McCaskill lost to a Republican, right? She didn't lose to some far lefty who was running. She lost to a Republican, donkey girl. I'm with McCaskill. I don't get why this woman's a thing. I'm glad she is because she provides me with endless entertainment. But Jesus fuck, woman.
Let's see. So this was the other sort of interesting controversy today, or that came out today, I guess. Hotel employees who asked black guests to leave have been fired. 2 employees seen on video asking a black guest to leave a Portland, Oregon hotel after he took a phone call in the lobby have been let go, the facility said Saturday on Twitter. The incident took place December 22nd at the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, Portland. Jermaine Massey was in the hotel lobby when a security guard informed him that police were on their way to escort him off the property. Massey accused the guard of harassing him, and in a statement provided to CNN by his attorneys, characterized the incident as, quote, calling his mother while black, unquote. Quote, we have terminated the employment of the 2 men involved in the mistreatment of Mr. Massey, the hotel said on Twitter. Their actions were inconsistent with our standards and values. We reiterate our sincere apology for what he endured and will work with diversity experts to ensure this never happens again, unquote. The move comes a day after the hotel apologized to Massey. On Friday, it placed the employees on leave during an investigation and said it would take, quote, the appropriate measures to ensure this does not happen again. So what did happen? Excuse me. In a series of Instagram videos recorded by Massey and obtained by CNN, he is heard asking the guard, but why? But I'm staying here. Not anymore, the security guard replies. Massey then told a hotel desk staffer he was taking a personal phone call in the lobby when the guard began to question why he was there. At one point in the videos, he shows the 2 men his key card envelope with the room number and date written on it. Hotel staff contacted the Portland Police Bureau and asked an officer to speak with Massey after employees asked him to leave the property. The officer then escorted Massey back to his room to collect his belongings and offered him assistance to a different hotel, but he declined. I'm really confused.
Like, what the fuck?
Massey's attorneys told CNN that hotel staff demanded he be arrested for trespassing if he did not leave the property at that time.
But he had a fucking key.
He had a hotel room.
What?
What the fuck?
What? This doesn't make any sense.
Where was this at?
This is Portland, Oregon, the Doubletree at Hilton or by Hilton or whatever.
Huh.
I'm still trying to see if there's like... That makes absolutely no sense.
It really doesn't.
Let's see. Through his attorneys, Massey has asked the Portland Doubletree to explain why they considered him a threat to hotel security and why security even questioned him in the first place.
Baby.
Yeah, something's missing from this picture. I don't disbelieve that this guy was fucked over because this makes absolutely no sense, and they're not denying that he was there and he had a card and he was staying there and they just took him out. So
yeah, there seems to be because if we're gonna believe the story as is, we would have to think that they literally just saw this dude, said, "Okay, he's black and looks like he doesn't belong here, so leave," and then. After he showed them the card, they're like, yeah, but you're still black, so get out. Which means that they would have had to have done that to almost every other black person they've seen in that place. If they hate black people that much to where the mere sight of one immediately sets them off and says, you don't belong here, then no black people must ever go there except for this one incident. Because it just seems kind of inconsistent that this would be the only time that something like this would happen exactly the way it did.
Yeah, again, this is so weird because I'm just curious what was happening 30 minutes before he took this call in the lobby or something, because there's something about this doesn't make any, obviously it doesn't make any sense. It's like if he's staying there, why would they ask him to leave unless there was some kind of inciting behavior or incident ahead of time? And if there was, they would have said that, but they didn't. So this is just bizarre. Yeah,
it's weird. That is a super strange situation.
And if there is nothing else to the story, then yeah, those guys should have been fired. It's just...
Yeah, because there's no reason. If the moment that person showed you that they were a resident...
Yeah.
Not a resident, but a patron.
Oh, guest, whatever, yeah.
Then that should end it, because there's no rules against making calls in the lobby. So what the fuck?
Yeah. Unless he was doing something that was... disruptive and or disturbing other people or something criminal, there's no reason to call the cops for a guy just standing in the lobby making a phone call,
especially on the grounds of trespassing. And even the police, when the police showed up and they was like, okay, yeah, well, you're apparently trespassing. Once he showed them the thing, then they should have been like, okay, hold on.
Well, at that point, it's kind of up to the property owner, because if they say this person's trespassing, the cops don't really have a lot of leeway to argue with them about it.
There's still room for questioning, though. Right?
Sure. But all the same, but it's really on the hotel, and that's just nonsense.
That's weird.
Yeah, so...
Fuck those guys. Until further notice, fuck them.
And in one other story I got here, I saw this headline, and I don't know much about the story, but I saw the picture associated with the story. And there's a guy wearing an apron that says Anti-Social Social Club. And given the headline, I'm really curious as to what's going on here. So this is from the Washington Post, our friends at WAPO. In the Twin Cities, Asian chefs feel the sting of Andrew Zimmern's results. They say his apology isn't enough. Now, I have no idea who Andrew Zimmern is.
I know who Andrew Zimmer is, but
Zimmerns? It's Zimmern. Zimmern, I guess. Okay, Bloomington, Minnesota. Sitting at a large round table at Grand Szechuan, it's Lazy Susan loaded with plates of mapo tofu, dan noodles, and other Sichuan specialties. Eve Wu says she's done with Minnesota nice. She's angry, and her peak is directed at one of the Twin Cities' most powerful personalities, Andrew Zimmern, the bespectacled chef and TV host who recently insulted Chinese American food during a widely circulated TV interview. Okay. Eve and her husband, Eddie Wu, she's a baker, he's a chef with a Korean-influenced diner, are so incensed they've partnered with Hmong American chef Chris Herr to host a series of pop-ups to foster conversations around the issues raised in Zimmern's interview. White privilege, cultural appropriation, and casual racism. What the fuck did this guy say?
Yeah, what the
About 100 people showed up for the first pop-up on December 7th at Eddie Wu's Cook St. Paul, where they dined on kimchi fried rice, mandu dumplings, hmong sausage, and other dishes served in a box stamped with the word horseshit, a derogatory term that Zimmern used to describe the mall-level cooking often foisted off as Chinese food in America. So, wait, he wasn't criticizing Chinese American food. He's criticizing how some is prepared? Wait a second. Let me find out where he said this.
Let me get this super chat that went by. Captain Jack, thank you. Something is definitely missing from this story. Talking about that last one.
Yeah.
And thank you, Cryptic. A sperm donor, a carpenter, and Julius Caesar walk into a bar. He came, he saw, he conquered.
Oh, I know. Okay, so I didn't know his last name was Zimmern. I thought it was Zimmer. But yeah, this is the dude from Bizarre Foods.
I have no idea. I don't watch cooking shows really. If you're wondering what hmong and Korean fare have to do with Chinese cuisine, you need to understand how Zimmern's insults landed with her and the Woos. The guy's last name is Her, H-E-R. So if I'm saying it might be hair, I don't know. When Zimmern dissed Chinese American food, P.F. Chang's in particular, which Zimmern labeled a ripoff. Okay, so he's criticizing.
He's basically criticizing Chinese fast food. Like, who gives a fuck?
Well, no, he just called P.F. Chang's culturally appropriative. Or he's saying it's a ripoff because it's not good food and they're too expensive, I guess.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about a extremely famous chef now, not only him, but Gordon Ramsay and lots of other chefs have gone public saying that, different fast foods or Americanized versions of foods that they've had when they've actually gone to those countries and eaten their food, they said it's shit, it's garbage. Yeah. They say it all the time. So wait a second.
So he says P.F. Chang's in particular, he labeled a ripoff. And these chefs who are complaining, they say he dissed the culinary efforts of all Asian immigrants and Asian Americans who have tried to find their way in the U.S. mainstream. He criticizes one restaurant chain as a ripoff, and all Asian Americans are thus dissed. Is that what I'm to understand?
Yes, that is how fragile and pathetic minority groups are. They all are deeply wounded by an insult that can be directed at.
Hang on. There's a super chat I missed way up there. Can I get that real quick?
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Jack. The children were right. The floor is lava, but they were wrong about the heat resistance of sofa cushions. Okay.
Quote, listen to this, quote, I'll back P.F. Chang's and their family any day of the week. Asians forever, says Eve Wu. Quote, if we have to be the generation that is going to be calling out problematic behavior because in the past it hasn't been, then I'm going to do it. I will do 100-year war with him, unquote.
Thank you, Cryptic. Chinese food in America was invented in America when they built the railroads. I can attest to that and that it's all fake. I work at one.
Okay, well, so in the interview with Mark Wilson, Zimmern said he wanted to introduce Midwesterners to Sichuan chili oil, hand-cut noodles, and Peking duck. Lucky Cricket, Zimmern suggested, could even morph into a 200-outlet chain, kind of like P.F. Chang's, but for authentic Chinese cooking. Zimmern, a 57-year-old white man from New York, set himself up as the savior of Chinese food in the Midwest. That's the author talking here, not anybody else. Quote, I think I'm saving the souls of all the people from having to dine at these horseshit restaurants masquerading as Chinese food that are in the Midwest, Zimmern said. Looking back on that interview conducted this summer at the Minnesota State Fair, Zimmern is at a loss to explain how those words could have tumbled from his mouth. Uh-oh. Quote, I let myself get carried away and have too much fun as opposed to realizing that I was working, he says at Szechuan Spice in the Uptown neighborhood. You stop being mindful and you say something flippant. You're not being precise with your words. No, you're pretty precise.
That's precise. You stop trying to backtrack, you bitch. Thank you, Frosted Glass. I prefer egg whites. Whites forever. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, no, if you're going to criticize the Americanization of authentic Chinese food, there's nothing wrong with saying that. You know, it's like you say, I've been to China, I've had real Chinese food, and you come to the American version and it's complete garbage. You know, P.F. Chang's and Panda Express or whatever else it is.
Nobody gives a fuck if you say Taco Bell's not really Mexican food.
Yeah, but that's an insult to all Mexican Americans and immigrants, Monkey. If you criticize a version of food that is a version of food.
So, Cryptic says, real quick, thank you. Can you find real Chinese food if you try? Yeah, it's at your local pound. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Satsu.
No.
So literally now we're getting to the point to where chefs can't even have opinion about certain foods.
No.
Not if they're not of the right ethnicity for that food.
We're getting to the point where somebody criticizes something. Someone else turns it into a crusade to promote their own restaurant.
Yep.
That's all it is. This is one big This is one big offense campaign, victimhood campaign. Oh, he criticized P.F. Chang's. Come to my restaurant where we make real Asian food. Instead of saying, go to P.F. Chang's. No, come to our pop-up restaurants. Yeah, okay. Well, then why if P.F. Chang's is so legit, why aren't you promoting P.F. Chang's? No. It's come to our pop-ups.
Thank you, Prospero. If Zimmerman is Jewish, there goes the Xmas profit margin for Chinese restaurants.
No.
It's so fucking stupid.
Where else are they going to go?
He literally just gave his opinion. That was it. And your opinion is literally an insult. So what if, because I've seen him go to different places. Like I used to watch, Bizarre Foods or whatever all the time. And what he'd do is he'd go to different places, countries and all kinds of places all over the world and find out what's the weirdest thing that they eat and try it. And he'd either like it or hate it. And he would openly say, I like this or I hate it. But now they're like, no, if it's from a different culture, you don't get to say you don't like it. That's it. You don't get to have an opinion. Unless you love it, shut the fuck up.
Thank you, Diesel Dave. There's some parts of the country I won't order ethnic food. It's just too bland. The Chinese food around here sucks.
Yeah, I remember for a while I had to take taxis to and fro from an event every couple of weeks. And almost to a one, I'd end up with a taxi driver who was an immigrant from Africa. And I get to talking to him, and I'd ask him, like, what's the one thing you miss from your home country? And they'd always say the food, because, food tastes fresh there. It tastes like actual food. You have a carrot there, it tastes completely different than when you have a carrot here. The food here is bland. The vegetables are bland. They don't have any flavor. And so, I've grown up on American-style food my entire life, so I'm always curious, like, what would a salad taste like in Africa? Because these guys are, almost 2-1, they say the food, because here it's too processed, doesn't taste right, and over in their homeland it's perfect and is fresh and everything else. So,
well, that's also been like a huge talking point with a lot of these groups too. Is like the authenticity of their food and from their cultures and stuff like that, and how everything has been Americanized over here, and now we're just pretending like that shit never happened. Like we never had a problem with Americanized versions of our food. We don't bitch about cultural appropriation and shit all the time. We don't boast our authentic restaurants and compare them to the Americanized versions every fucking day. None of that ever happened. It's all gone now. We're on a new road this time. Like, get the fuck out of here. This story pisses me off.
All right. Well, wasn't my intention, but that's all the stories that I had pulled up anyway, so I'm done with that.
That story triggered me.
Oh, no, Satsu. You're going to have to do a video on it now.
I think I might.
There you go.
All right, guys, that's the end of the news time, but MSS News is up next. If there's a story you'd like us to read, hit us up at the hashtag MSS News over on the Twitter machine. We can't get to all of them, but that's just because I can't make up an excuse why. Scribe?
Yeah, ignore the fact that Monkey said MSS Noose. That he's not talking about lynchings, guys, just so you know. Let's see. This one comes from Jay Reynolds. Father's family gets custody of son after mom tries to sell him for $2,500.
Jesus fuck.
Are you kidding me? On June 29th, this is today's story. Okay, on June 29th, special agents executed a drug search warrant at a residence in Corpus Christi and found 8-year-old Roland Olivares III, who was allegedly sold and purchased. Jesus. Okay, quote, "It's finally come to an end. He's back where he was in the first place," great uncle Tony Guerrero said. Just days before Christmas, the family of Olivares was notified they were given full custody of him. Quote, "So excited when he finally got to be with my mom, so at first she was able to get him every other weekend." I'm confused. Where we get to the story about this? Okay. Although young Olivares might not understand what happened, the family said it wouldn't be an easy path for him to recover after his own mother's crime of selling him to pay off a drug debt of $2,500.
Oh, what a cunt.
So that happened. He was recovered. Then there was a custody battle to get him into a safe place. The family is glad the custody battle is over, and they still want justice to be served when it comes to the Olivares' mother. A 29-year-old Esmeralda Garza. Quote, "If I did something like that, I wouldn't even want myself around my own child. So no, I wouldn't want him around her. God's got it. I can forgive her, but I can't forgive what she did." I think those kind of go together.
They go together.
Anyway. Garza, for her part, is in jail under a $300,000 bond and was denied a bond reduction. She pled not guilty in October. Yeah, well.
No, I was just renting him out, Yana. Thank you, Captain Jack. White Power is my favorite Power Ranger. And Christian, thank you so much. Sorry, chat scrolled. Happy New Year to Lords of the Night. Try to stay pain-free, Monkey. I keep asking her to smother me with a pillow. She won't do it, so that's not coming.
Okay, this one comes from Massive Dynamics. Maybe I just saw this last night. I didn't get a chance to read it.
I'm going to be quiet for a minute, guys. Sorry.
Okay. Oh no, Monkey's going to be quiet. Women want to escape Venezuela so badly, they sell their hair, their breast milk, and sex. Not necessarily in that order, I would hope. Although the sun has barely risen, this border city with Venezuela is already bursting with chaos. Thousands upon thousands of Venezuelans pour into Colombia over the crowded cross-country bridge, their faces gaunt, carrying little more than a backpack. Rail-thin women cradle their tiny babies and beg along the trash-strewn gutters. Teenagers hawk everything from cigarettes to sweets and water for small change. The young, the old, and the disabled cluster around the lone Western Union office recently established to deal with the Venezuelan influx in the hopes of receiving a few dollars from home or sending them there. Without passports or work permits, the Venezuelans, many with university degrees or decent jobs in what was once the wealthiest nation in Latin America, are now resorting to whatever it takes to survive. Quote, "Hair looking for hair," an older man choruses through the crowd, turning to a group of women clutching their small children. Another man nearby holds a sign reading, "We buy hair." More and more girls and women are turning to a cut to make ends meet and feed their families for a few days. This is the saddest fucking thing I've read in a while.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Women sell their locks to local wig makers in Colombia for around $10 to $30, depending on length and quality. Other women sell their bodies. Girls as young as 14 line the Cucata streets available for hire, earning around $7 per service. I think I'm going to be sick.
Can I just say yay socialism?
Yeah, so this story goes on for like 7-8 pages. So I'm already depressed.
The Hate Camel, thank you. Play Sarah McLachlan in the background. For only a couple of dollars, you could help ease a monkey's pain, or just hit the like button if you're cheap. And Cryptic, thank you. What do you get when you cross habitual lying with insomnia? A person that lies awake all night.
Oh boy, we want that over here.
Yeah,
there are people actively asking for that here.
Yeah, socialism. Yay, socialism. This is what it.
Well, remember, guys, that's not real socialism.
No, that's the fake kind.
It's never been real socialism when this shit happens.
It's only socialism if it works.
Yeah.
This one comes from Froggy. Mom busts son using Alexa to solve his math homework. Well, how's that any different from using a calculator back when I was a kid? Oh, here's the calculator. That's cheating. If you got an Amazon Alexa device for Christmas, you might want to keep a closer eye on the wily kids in your house. Last week, a New Jersey mom caught her son red-handed using the virtual assistant to cheat on his math homework. Yerilyn Cueva posted a short 11-second clip of her 6-year-old son, Yariel, asking Alexa to solve the age-old math question, what's 5 minus 3? Yeah, I'd say you probably have to take the Alexa away from the kid. Cueva told the New York Post they'd only had the Amazon Echo for a week before she caught her son taking the easy way out of his winter break math homework.
Man, I wish my winter break math homework was that easy.
While adorable, the video does raise the question of how children growing up with virtual assistants in their homes will interact with these devices. I think you just figured it out. All right. Yeah, this is what tests are for, where they can't use Alexa. This shows whether they've actually learned something or they've been cheating the whole time. My
favorite form of cheating I ever heard about, way back in the day, if you contacted WoW late at night when it wasn't being played very often, contacted one of the GMs.
Yeah,
they'd often answer silly questions and shit like that. And one guy actually asked him his math homework for that night, which was some complicated calculus problem, and Blizzard answered for him.
Nice.
They gave him the actual answer. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
That's great. Let's see. This one comes from Frosted Glass.
Well, before we move on, as a society, are we moving to the point where, most people don't need to know math?
I hope not, because that'll just lead to stagnation of discoveries.
Well, you can get, you can add, Alexa, what is, whatever question you want. We have all of this shit right at our fingertips. My mom was insistent. Hang on, this is why I bring this up. My mom insisted we never use calculators, even when we were allowed to in math class. And her reasoning was, well, what happens in the future if you don't have access to a calculator? Now, not only do I have access to a calculator, I walk around with a fucking computer that can access the entire world.
Yes. However, without learning the skills of problem solving and computation, at least at its basic levels when you're growing up, your brain does not develop the same kind of connections it would otherwise. If you cheat all the way through your developmental years using digital assistants or otherwise, you're cheating yourself in more ways than just, I need to answer 2 + 2 or something. Because there's so much more to it than just solving a math problem. It's about being able to think, critically about reality, let alone, just math problems, which technically aren't reality, but you know what I mean.
Well, what about advanced math then? It teach the basics, but everything else beyond that is, the only time I've ever used algebra is to amuse myself when I was bored. So I've never been a big proponent of that anyway. But when it gets to things like geometry, trig, calculus, all of this, is it necessary?
Well, if you're going to go into engineering or chemistry or other things like that, then sure, it's going to be. But that's up to the individual. I haven't had any use for most of the math that I learned throughout college up to and through algebra, let's say. I didn't go really further than that because I didn't need to. But if we want engineers and STEM, etc., that higher level math is going to be necessary. And there comes a point where you can have a computer. You have to tell the computer what you want it to do, and you have to know math in order to do that. I mean, if we let all the other thing too is you put too much reliance on machines to tell you the answers to things, and you can't figure it out for yourself, you're sure to be duped, not only by computers but by other people if you can't think for yourself.
Especially if when I've seen a lot of times when technology fails you, the basic knowledge of what you can do outside of the computer usually lets you know, like if there's a calibration issue, if something's actually wrong with the machine, that type of stuff. Like it takes that real life kind of human aspect, because machine's only as good as the person who made it.
Who can read a map anymore without a digital assistant? Who can balance their checkbook without the bank doing it for you, or whatever else? I mean, it's just there are some things that I think still should be taught at a basic level, just so people have a certain understanding outside the abstract. We were talking about this the other day with the whole home ec thing, where people, adults had to take basically home ec classes and things. And I was saying, I'd take away all your debit cards, take away your ability to bank online, hand you a checkbook, and say that's the only way you're going to be able to pay for things for the next 2 weeks. So have fun with that. And then you learn real quick what's worth your dollars and what isn't, with the checks and all the other kind of things. So I think you should reduce as reasonably as possible the easy way out of solving problems for yourself. And whether I'm talking about math or life in general.
Real quick, thank you, Diesel Dave. You still need to learn how to think. I just think a lot of math, especially that we're taught in high school and stuff, unless you're going into a field, electricians, engineers, people who actually need math, most of it is useless for us. Now, basic math, I'm with you on. I'm just wondering you can get the answer to anything. You really can.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of people have access to technology, and they'll get in that mindset where they're just like, yeah, well, we have technology. We don't have to do it. It's nice to know it. We don't have to, but, that's when the screen flips and you're like, hello, Mr. EMP.
Well, here's somebody said it wasn't cheating. Somebody in chat, I forget who it was. They said it's not cheating, it's research. And there's an argument to be made there. When I was in school, if you had to do a report, you went and you had to find it in the library, in the right book, and actually read it line by line on paper. Now you just go to the internet and print up whatever you found there. I'm not sure that it's any more cheating than that is.
Well, all I know is that things that Einstein came up with his brain are still being worked out by computers today. So
imagine what he could have done with the computer.
He was a computer. He beat computer. The computer processing power that's been spent just to prove what Einstein figured out on his own. He didn't need a computer. He figured out the functions of some parts of our reality all on his lonesome. So Anyway.
James Colley, thank you. Monkey, we are moving closer to the Wall-E social construct. Also, contractors use algebra every day they work. Yeah, the contractor does. His workers don't. I mean, it's a very specific thing. Not most people don't need algebra. Algebra is fucking retarded.
Anyway, who was sent us this one? Yeah, Frosted Glass. I think this was directed at me in particular. Best of 2018. What a dominatrix knows about #MeToo. This is written by, so the author is the dominatrix of the piece here. The undertitle is "Sex Workers Like Me Are on the Front Lines in the Battle Against Toxic Masculinity."
Really?
If you're a dominatrix, you're dealing with submissive men. Their kink, their fetish is submitting to women. They don't have a whole lot of toxicity in those scenarios when it comes to the dynamic there, because you're the one in control.
So are we about to hit the point to where if you're not subservient to women, then you are toxic as a male?
That would be my guess, but let's see. I don't know if I want to read this whole thing, but I'll read some of it. A man takes a seat next, and this is the author talking. A man takes a seat next to me at the Mandrake's Long Bar. The Mandrake's Long Bar, okay. It's a low-ceilinged local haunt frequented by artists and designers leaving work at galleries along La Cienega Boulevard, stalling their long eastward commutes towards the gentrifying East LA neighborhoods they call home. He asks the bartender for a whiskey and slides an unmarked envelope toward me. It touches the base of my sweating highball glass, condensation blooming onto the otherwise crisp white envelope. Ooh, somebody here is an English major. I pick it up and make eye contact while working my finger into the crease, discreetly counting the cash before stuffing it into my purse. The man wraps his thick, hairy knuckles around his bourbon, tips the beard behind the bar, and sets his eyes on me, initiating the role play. Come here often? Is that all you got? I bait him. He fumbles. He's reciting a script we all know well, and he's not adept at improvisation. Quote, come here often? After a moment, he says it again. It's all he's got. I smile, conceding, I do. I come often. A sly smirk pulls at his mouth. I would love to see you come, he says, and takes a sip of his... I'm reading bad fucking fanfic here.
Real quick, James Colley said, thank you. Unless she means submissive men are toxic.
Well, that would be a flip. I tell you what.
What they twist.
He stares straight ahead, surprised at his own audacity. A moment passes. I straighten my dress, feigning shock, and yell loudly enough for the entire bar to turn. I wouldn't have sex with you if you were the last man on earth. I stand to go, watching his cheeks flush hot with shame, the feeling for which he has paid me. You see, public shaming gets people off. Some women, some men. And in this case, that's what this guy likes. I consider pouring my drink on his crotch like they do in the movies, but I don't want to make a mess for the bartender who didn't agree to participate in this humiliation scene in the first place. Wait, I'm sorry, With a firm no, I raise my hand to his mouth to prevent him from protesting, storm out of the bar and into the unseasonably warm night. I count again, $300 on the walk to my car. You see, ladies, if you're not in this business, you're in the wrong business. $300 for about a 3-minute interaction where you make a guy embarrassed in public. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So I'm going to skip down. Tell me about how this is battling toxic masculinity. In a recent Atlantic essay on Me Too, Aziz Ansari and the Paradox of No. On Me Too, Aziz Ansari and the Paradox of No. Okay, Megan Garber claims that women today still face the demands that have always been placed on femininity, that women be nice, pleasing, and compliant. I think men are also expected to be that way by some women.
Nope,
I'm not.
That's a myth.
Oh. No is the utterance that disrupts these demands. It is the failure of femininity. To interrupt male desire with the word no is to disrupt femininity itself. The dominatrix, then, is a paradox. Both feminine and dominant, she is a woman paid to refuse men. No, you're paid to fulfill a fantasy.
You stupid bitch.
Because you're consenting to do what a man wants you to do for money.
Are you kidding me? This man, oh my God.
Okay.
Dude.
Yeah. Okay, let's not pretend here. A power dynamic between two people who are not having a paid relationship or whatever else, you can make different arguments. But if you're a dominatrix, you're a professional dominatrix or professional dom, you're taking money to fulfill somebody else's fantasy, they are the customer and you are the employee.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it may feel like you're in control, and certainly there is a power exchange taking place, that they are paying you to make them feel a certain way. And in a lot of cases, truth be told, they are submitting their physical safety into your hands for the sake of the interaction of the scene or whatever else. Sometimes they're emotional safety, sometimes they're physical, sometimes both. But make no mistake, lady, you're working at the whim of a man. I don't want to tell you.
Now tell that same story, but about a guy who you did not give money to.
Right.
or a guy you did not just receive money from.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that plays out.
Well, see, that guy was dumb because if he just wants to be publicly humiliated, he could just go into a bar and start hitting on women.
Yeah, they'll do it
and not have to pay a dime, you know. So
well, maybe the extra payment is worth not going to jail for it nowadays.
Yeah, well, you know, now that might be true because if you can safely pay somebody to make you feel lousy in public without the risk of a lawsuit, that might be the insurance they need. So you might be right there.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Anyway, this one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier, and this is the story that Monkey was freaking out about before the stream started, and I don't blame him. Bodybuilder wraps penis around rolling pin to finish tattooed bodysuit.
And there's pictures, y'all.
Yeah, they are censored pictures, but pictures all the same. A bodybuilder whose entire body is covered in tattoos had to wrap his penis around a kitchen rolling pin to finish his private parts, including his testicles. Ray Houghton, 61, can, quote, proudly, unquote, claim to have at least one tattoo on every body part after undergoing the eye-watering 4 hours of inking on his genitals. He now boasts an impressive full bodysuit of ink, which cost $9,500 and required more than 240 hours of tattooing. $9,500. That does sound cheap, but the stuff he's got on him, at least what I can see, that's some pretty quality work there.
It looks mostly like patterns.
Yeah, I mean, but
so maybe that's why it's so cheap.
Nah, well, it could be for the complex, but at the same time, sometimes straight lines are the hardest things for tattoo artists to get right because usually they're doing like patterns and art and stuff. Like when I went to get most of my tattoos are, let's just say geometric in shapes. Basically, they're not like art pieces or like words or anything. Mm-hmm. And I remember in 2 instances, I handed the guy the pattern I wanted, and I could see this nervous look on his face because it's very exacting. To keep a straight line, to draw a circle right, is a lot more difficult sometimes than doing like a picture of a guy's face or something. So, because there's no room for error, you know, you can't cover it up or sort of fudge it a little bit. Let's see. Houghton from Manchester, England, has now completed a 2-year journey to get his body covered in ink after enduring the 4-hour sitting to have his penis and testicles tattooed. 4 hours with a needle going in and out of your dick and balls.
Yikes.
And the pain, the burning, the bleeding. I've had tattoos like on my arms and my legs, and I wouldn't even want to fathom somewhere that sensitive. He was reluctant to show off his impressive muscles thanks to tattoos he had done during his time in the army as a teenager. But this bid to reclaim his confidence turned into an obsession, and Houghton embarked on a mission to have his whole body tattooed to cover up his aging skin.
That has nothing to do with confidence. That's the opposite of confidence.
Maybe for him, but I tell you what, dude, your skin's still as old as it was. Okay. Let's see. Houghton, who lives in Spain with his fiancée Pamela Hunt, 53, added, quote, "There was quite a bit of blood, and it was uncomfortable to walk the next day." That's it? Really? You're a tougher man than I, Gunga Din. I tell you what. And then they got a full body picture of him standing there. That, I'll tell you what, that is an impressive work there. That is, he is a walking piece of art. That is true. And he's in really fucking good shape for 61. Holy cats. Anyway, that aside, how many more do you want me to do, Monkey?
Let's do, how many more do we have? Do we still have a good stable?
Like 22.
Yeah, grab like 2 or 3 more because I don't have much for tonight. Sorry, guys.
Okay. We did one from them. We did one from them. This one comes from Jim Heelis. Truck owners are blocking Tesla superchargers in icing protests. What? Tesla drivers are reporting a spate of icing, an acronym from internal combustion engine, by large trucks at superchargers across the country. Superchargers? What the fuck is a supercharger? In one instance, Reddit user Licinia said a group of trucks blocked all of the charging spots. Oh, superchargers. Oh, so electric car chargers. Okay. A group of trucks blocked all of the charging spots while chanting, "Fuck Tesla," before being asked to leave by an employee of the store. Like most superchargers, the location where the incident occurred, behind a Sheetz convenience store in Hickory, North Carolina, isn't on land owned by Tesla. Rather, it's leased from third parties, giving the company no control over how the supercharger spots are used from day to day.
Fancy that.
This is a absolute childish waste of time, is what it is.
What do you expect?
I don't understand what the purpose is.
The purpose is to pretend like you did something today so you can go home and feel like you did something today.
That is the dumbest thing. I'm going to prevent somebody from charging up their car in a protest over internal combustion engines. You're all stupid.
As fuck.
Let's see. Which one do I want to do here? Sure, why not? This one comes from New Fate 26. If the story will come up. The dollar store backlash has begun. Over what? It has become an increasingly common story. A dollar store opens up in an economically depressed area with scarce, healthy, and affordable food options, sometimes with the help of local tax incentives. It advertises hard-to-beat low prices, but it offers little in terms of fresh produce and nutritious items. Then go somewhere else. Why? Okay, further trapping residents in a cycle of poverty and ill health. Okay, if I choose to smoke cigarettes, or if I choose to take heroin, I'm doing myself a disservice, but it's my choice. If you choose to get food from Dollar General as your main grocery store, what do you want to have happen? That people make decisions that are bad for them all the time, you know?
Yeah, Scribe, but come on. You can't expect those stupid, pathetic people to make a decision like that. See, you put something cheap and you wave it in their faces, they're too dumb not to take it. So you need to not put those places there because those people are too stupid to know better.
So I guess the story here is, in order to end poverty, we need people to buy produce that costs more.
Or we need to stop waving very attractive worms in front of really stupid people's faces because they're too dumb to know better not to bite it.
A recent research brief by the Institute of Local Self-Reliance, oh, that sounds legit, a nonprofit supporting local economies. I wonder who funds that nonprofit. Sheds light on the massive growth of this budget enterprise. Since 2001, outlets of Dollar General and Dollar Tree have grown from 20,000 to 30,000 in number. So wait, 10,000 more stores in almost 20 years. I don't know if that's a large number or not because they started out with 20. I don't know. Though these small box retailers carry only a limited stock of prepared foods, they're now feeding more people than grocery chains like Whole Foods. Oh, so Whole Foods is pissed off they're losing market share. Oh, okay. I wonder if they funded this nonprofit. Yeah, okay. Anyway. I don't know what to tell you guys. If people choose to have most of their meals at McDonald's, you can't help them. I don't know that's their choice, you know. Or they go to Dollar General to get a burrito. I don't know. Let's see. This one comes from Chicago Mike. 30 obsolete tech products the world already forgot about. Really? Oh boy. Monkey, let's see if we've forgotten about these since we're the oldest guys here.
Okay.
Monkey, have you forgotten about Betamax?
No.
Neither have I. If you guys don't know what Betamax is, look it up. Google Glass. Seriously? Google Glass is like, what, 3 years old or something? Yeah,
Google, that hasn't... I was actually thinking of it just the other day because when I was doing the last minute Amazon Christmas shopping, they had this guy wearing these weird glasses. I'm like, What the hell ever happened to Amazon Glass?
Yeah. Or Google Glass.
Or Google Glass, yeah.
Yeah, Google Glass. Of course, why would I have forgotten?
Those were supposed to change the world. Remember, everybody was going to be running around looking at those things.
Oh yeah, with their heads-up displays and everything, facial recognition and all that.
Damn near Iron Man.
Okay, number 3, Dreamcast. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about Dreamcast. What?
Literally
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. They're number 3 item. So this is going down from 1 down. So
who wrote this?
This is from. Okay, I don't know if this is this guy's real first name. Also, this article came out in October, but all the same. His first name is Riff, R-I-F-F, Riff Bentham at science101.com. Science101.com? How old are you? 12? Okay, Dreamcast. Number 4, Segway?
Those are still used.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Thank you, Mr. Dax. Jonathan McIntosh is a Betamax, right?
Oh, good one.
Yes, he is.
If you don't know what a Betamax is, you need to watch more Married with Children. That's all I'm saying.
Virtual Boy. No.
What the fuck?
Okay, if you're like 11 years old right now, I'll forgive you if you've never heard of Virtual Boy. But if you've watched any episodes of The Angry Video Game Nerd, you know what a Virtual Boy is. He did like a big long documentary about the whole fucking thing. That Virtual Boy isn't forgotten. Laserdisc isn't forgotten.
Hang on just a second. Now I have a question. Let me get the super chat. Thank you, Midnight in Exile. That is very generous of you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, guys. Congratulations on keeping your shit together, producing a show with consistent quality despite personnel changes, and staying in my regular views. Can I get Monkey and Satsu on the pitch this month? Hit me in my DMs, man.
He doesn't want to talk to me anymore because I basically took over. When I was on there, it was like, hey, what's this idea? And I just ran with it for and nobody stopped me. There's everything I came up with, you came up with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy to stream, as everybody knows, but for me, it's just a matter of locking down when. So yeah, hit me up in my DMs, man. They're open.
Okay, so the next one is Laserdisc. Okay, I worked at a video store in the late 90s when DVD was first coming out, right? And it's kind of a forgotten little piece of history on this. Not Laserdiscs, but the fact that there was such a battle by the studios between DVD or I suddenly forget DivX. That's what it was, DivX. Because originally, DivX now is basically like an encoding software for video stuff. But back then, the DivX system was this. You would go to the store and you would buy a pack of blank discs. You would take these blank discs home to your DivX machine. You would put the disc in the machine. The machine would download the movie onto a blank disc. And then you could decide whether you wanted that disc to be a rental or a purchase. If it was a rental, the disc could be played with the movie on it for 3 times, and then it would lock unless or until you paid for another rental. If you paid to purchase it, it would download the movie onto the disc permanently, and you would have your movie. And the studios loved DivX, the system, because the discs were encoded only to play in your player. There was no trading. There was no piracy. You couldn't move it from... They loved the concept, even though it was completely convoluted. Then you had DVDs coming in, and they were basically videotapes on disc with all these other options and this, that, and the other thing. For the longest time, there were studios that would not go over to DVD, like Disney. Specifically, Steven Spielberg wouldn't let his movies or any movies he produced on a DVD unless or until they could get his preferred sound encoding system, DTS, on those discs rather than Dolby Digital and all that other stuff. So for the longest time, you could only find Disney movies on Laserdisc. You could only find Jaws and Men in Black and Star Wars and stuff on Laserdisc. You okay?
I'm dying over here. James, thank you. Now they're pissing me off. You can buy name brand cleaners cheaper at dollar stores, and those thoughts going to say something stupid and ruin my money. I'm not sure what that was in reference to.
Well, that was the Dollar Tree store or the dollar store story that we were talking about before.
Oh, okay.
I was actually thinking about there's a channel actually dedicated to It's specifically around Dollar Tree, and he goes to Dollar Tree and buys all kinds of shit there and tells you if it's worth it versus buying it at the store. And I thought about doing something like that too, because there are certain things that I recommend you buy from Dollar Tree because they're name brand and they're just like the product you get in the regular store, just cheaper. And then there's certain things you just shouldn't because it is not like it has the same name, but it is not the same thing.
My best dollar store purchase ever was way back when I was like 12 years old. Just after Easter, the dollar store had a sale, and I got like 6 chocolate Jesuses for $2.
Chocolate Jesus.
They were chocolate Jesuses. It was great.
Okay, well, I'm scrolling through all these other things, and almost to a 1, none of these things are forgotten technology or like things that nobody would remember. It's
Do you think they're just misusing the words there rather than forgotten? It's stuff that like young people don't know.
they say obsolete and forgotten. Now, obsolete in some of these things, I'll agree with you, except for like segways, for fuck's sake, they're still around. But when they talk about fax machines and floppy disks and stuff like that, sure, for the most part. But
this was just pure clickbait.
Yeah, no, it was. But they got 30 different items on here. The last one being overhead projectors, except they still use fucking overhead projectors.
In schools and fucking colleges.
Yeah, they're not obsolete and they're not forgotten because schools still use them because they're a cheap and easy way to project stuff. And it's... Anyway, I'm done.
Real quick, Midnight said that he's banned from Twitter. How can we arrange this then? What time is your show?
Email.
Oh yeah, hit me up. And my email is monkey@therantingmonkey.com.
Yeah, I mean, email's not obsolete yet.
Well, I never think to use it because I rarely check my email.
Oh well, you should start doing that more.
It's obsolete and forgotten, Scribe.
That's right.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway.
That brings us to YouTube time. Satsu, what'd you do today?
I uploaded the video that Monkey recorded for me for 7 Days to Die on how to clear POIs or points of interest, random bases in the map. We had a super awesome stream last night and plan on having another one tonight if Monkey doesn't die on me.
I'll be there.
That's pretty much it. Like I said, I've already talked to you guys about the list of stuff that I have planned and all that stuff I'm still working on. Also, because of certain conversations today, I may be working on 2 videos. The one about the Andrew Zimmer and the other one about, God damn it, what was it? I should have wrote it down. But I'll look over in MSS News to grab it again. But yeah, that's on the agenda for me.
Scribbles, what you work on?
I put out my latest video this morning. It's a follow-up / sequel to my previous Netflix video. This is the one where the lady's talking about an event they threw in order to promote their diversity, and it was a big arrangement by the black executives at Netflix to say, hey, we're black, but we're also smart. Come work for us.
Oh, right.
And I was just like, oh, my God. And so I played that clip from Donnelly, what's his name, from earlier this year in the midterm, saying, like, you know, our campaign manager is an African-American woman, but she's even more talented than you can imagine, or something like that. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And yeah, it's very, the video itself, the core video is about maybe like 2 minutes long or something. So it's not a very long video on my part, but it's just bits and pieces of the same kind of stuff. And I kind of emphasize the fact that, you know, for some reason, Netflix is deleting certain videos that promote the same deals here. It's very odd stuff. So anyway, that's what I put out today.
Oh, wow. Right-wing BDSM guy says, I'm not sure if everyone knows this already, but Adonis Paul, formerly known as AP the Frog, had an actual heart attack this morning. He's in the hospital.
Oh, no.
Well, shit, I didn't know that. I haven't got a chance to talk to him very often, but I like his material, and we actually spoke recently, and I hope he's okay. I hope he recovers.
How old is he, do you know?
I want to say 30s, but I honestly have no idea.
God, heart attacks and nuts. Okay.
And I like AP. Him and Gasly's breakup was sad because those two together were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Their timing together was awesome. But I like each of them into 37. God damn it. AP, take care of yourself. Oh man. And I'm one to talk here, right? But yeah, I wish him a very speedy recovery. I'll have to shout out to him. But I did a monkey in the morning. We did that one very early because of Dax's work schedule. Damn people in their jobs.
Uh-huh.
But Adendro jumped on with us.
Mm.
And me and him had quite the argument about Trump for about 45 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a pretty good debate. We talked over each other a little bit. But for the most part, it was just a good back and forth, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't get to have those as often as I like. But it was good to talk to Ed again because I like Ed. He's back. He's going to be making videos again soon. So make sure you check out Adendro Whitehall over on the YouTube, not YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. He's also back on the Twitters because he's been banned a few times.
Just a few.
Just a few. We also discussed why that happened to him. Also tonight, guys, after this, we will be playing 7 Days to Die over on 2 Cents Plus, giving away a copy of Injustice. What is it? Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. Somebody won Arkham Origins last night. Who was that? Warren won that last night. You guys don't have to do anything to win except for come over and watch, and as you watch, you gain chimp change, which is how you buy the raffle tickets. So just come over and watch. It's a chance to win a free game and listen to me and Satsu scream like little girls when we get startled.
I don't do that.
Yes, you do. You do it worse than I do. Okay. We're going to take a poll in chat. Who screams like a girl more, me or Satsu? I'm 1, Satsu's 2. Go. That brings us to fucketry. And like I said, I was literally in bed all day. So I haven't seen much other than what we talked about with Cortez earlier. So what do you guys got?
I got into kind of an argument with one of my favorite people to debate with over on Facebook because she's super cool. And no matter what we talk about or how heated the conversation gets, we're always still cool afterwards. So I like talking to her, but today we kind of got on each other's nerves a bit because she was talking about the wall, and her post that she put up said, "I literally just argued with a bunch of ignorant Trumpsters. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to respect most conservatives right now." And my response was, "I argue with extremists on both sides daily, so I pretty much hate all of you. Just remember." I said, just remember that it is extremists you can't stand or you're having an issue with, not Democrats or conservatives you usually end up arguing with. Generalizations are bad and they enhance your bias. Now, this turned into a whole bunch of shit when I said that, because her response to that was, anyone who thinks that our treatment of illegal immigrants is okie dokie is a shitty human. To me, that encompasses every conservative you meet. Now, this is what she said. Every conservative you meet is completely fine with what's going on with immigration.
Well,
and I told her that's flat out false, but to be expected. You have not met or spoken to nearly enough people to make that claim, but that is the bias that I just got done talking about. And things kind of went downhill from there.
Can we address that for a minute? Because what she's talking about there is, families being separated from the border, and there were those 2 kids that died. Look, I'm not happy those 2 kids died, but isn't it kind of shitty to pay illegals less than they're actually supposed to be being paid as they clean your house and watch your children? What about that? What about that kind of treatment of illegals?
They don't care about that shit.
It's okay to treat them basically as slaves, but not fuck off. You know what? You're right. The way we treat illegals is wrong. We should have built a fucking border and not allowed this problem to happen in the first fucking place.
Yeah. So we got into that, and that's what the conversation was about. Just her being unbiased or whatever. And then let me see here. She basically told me that, well, I've talked to thousands, hundreds, maybe thousands of people online. So, and I'm like, you do realize how small of a number that is. And when I made that point, her next question was, so how do you feel about the current treatment of illegal immigrants, especially in the ICE camps? And I told her that it sucks and it is unfortunate that it's happening, but that just means our entire system needs to be revamped. Her response to that is, you didn't answer my question.
No.
Yeah. I said it sucks and the entire system needs to be revamped. And she said that didn't answer her question. So she said, no, you didn't answer my question. I asked you what your opinion was, and and you gave me some bullshit answer about how we need to revamp our system. Which I'm still puzzled by. But all throughout this conversation, her and her friend who had chimed in or whatever was talking about, what could be done and that anybody who thinks that way is wrong. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't think that I'm not fine with the way, things are going. I'm not fine with the system, the way it works. I'm not fine with the certain treatment that these people are getting. But I ended up asking her, because this is my favorite question to ask people who are against the wall, because the conversation usually always ends here. I asked her, okay, so the wall is a bad idea, and she used the walls are ineffective argument. So I'm like, okay, well, what is effective? What is your counter to their wall? These people who have an idea that are actually trying to execute it, tell me what's better than their idea, because you have to have one. You know that theirs is objectively bad, so let me hear yours. And she said, we need to change the immigration system.
That's what we need to change the system. Change that system.
Dude, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I literally just said that to you and you told me that was a bullshit answer.
If we just make all illegals legal, there will be no more illegals. Problem solved.
Amnesty, the end.
I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So I told her, I'm like, yeah, that's the typical answer. Because I'm like, the reason that I can't get fully upset with the wall or get an attitude with people trying to actually do something is the fact that I don't have a solution. These people have come up with something that they think is a solution, and they are putting money towards it to try to make it a possible thing. And all you are providing to me is bitching. That's it. And then I ask you, well, what's a better solution? And you tell me some cut and paste ass shit like, oh, well, it just needs to be changed. And I'm like, how? She's like, well, I like Canada's system. And
the one that's even harsher than ours?
That was it.
The only reason Canada doesn't have an immigration problem is because we're between them and Mexico.
Oh, boy. Well, long story short, like I said, me and her are still cool. We have a lot of debates and stuff like that. But this conversation was just kind of mind numbing. And then she said, what was really weird is, I was telling her, like, you're obviously biased about this particular topic. So, whatever, it is what it is. And she was like, you're the one being biased here. I'm like, this whole conversation started because you literally said that every conservative believes a certain thing. And this is why you can't stand most of them. And I said, that's not true. You should probably, broaden your horizons and, put into perspective that the people you talk to may be that way, but everybody isn't like that. But I'm the biased one.
Your point there is really good because I see a lot of people, and to some point, I would say that kind of about Sophane. Mm-hmm. He gets into arguments with like really, really extreme people. And he's like, well, you're all extreme. No, that's not fair. I mean, if that's who you're arguing with, I argue with a lot of people, both far extremists to people who agree with me a lot, but just have a little bit. And I don't see the extremism everybody else sees.
Exactly. And I had asked her, I'm like, do you not think that because you actively seek out these people, The people who have these opinions, every time you see them in your feed, those are the people you engage with. That's what creates this perception that all of them are like that. Because whenever you see somebody who agrees with you, you don't know what that person's political affiliation is. That person could very well be a conservative, but you don't engage with those people. You engage exclusively with people who think differently than you. So, of course, you would say, well, most of the people I talk to think like that, because those are the people who you are actively combating. So, yeah, that makes perfect fucking sense. But no, that's not it. They're just all horrible because I said so. Because I have personally talked to every single one of them, and they all told me the same thing. It's like, oh, my God.
What about you, Scribbles? Any fucketry?
Not so much fucketry, but there was an article going around today talking about how in the next season of the Punisher TV show, his enemy is going to, or the villain apparently is going to be a right-wing Christian extremist. And people are getting all like, oh my God, the Punisher fighting a right-wing extremist, the Punisher's gone lefty and everything else. And I'm kind of like, well, if you read the comic books, the Punisher has defended flag burners and killed Mennonites. So depending on the circumstances, he could go either way depending on his principles of the situation. The thing that bothered me the most about that article was they quoted the actor John Bernthal, who plays the Punisher in that show, as saying that they came up with a tactically / reasonable excuse as to why he put the skull back on. And I'm like, wait a second. The skull is his uniform and his armor. It's what tells his enemies who's coming to fucking kill them. And you guys need a reason for him to put it on? Oh, this season's already fucked. I don't care who the enemy is. If you have to come up with a reason Frank Castle has to put the skull on his chest, you've lost the war before it's even started.
Well, no. It sounds just like a cheap way to get it back there because they should have never taken it off in the first place.
Well, yeah, I mean, and spoiler alert, and if you guys want to know my thoughts on the Punisher TV show, I did a review on my channel under the reviews playlist. It's actually one of my most watched videos, I'm very proud to say. But yeah, I mean, the ending of the Punisher TV show had him sitting at what was effectively a Veterans Anonymous meeting, more or less. And talking to all these vets about how he doesn't know what happens next and he's scared. And I'm not kidding you. The last line of the show before cutting to black is Frank Castle looking at all these guys after having gotten rid of his skull vest and everything and saying he's scared. And I yelled at the screen when that happened because I'm like, no. The fear to the Punisher is a tool. It heightens your senses. It gets your adrenaline going, but he's not scared of what happens next. He has a war to fight, the never-ending war. He doesn't cower in the corner worrying about his feelings and shit. And that's what was going on there. And I was like, oh my God, please don't carry this over into season 2. But if they have to come up with a reason for him to rationalize putting his skull back on, we're done. Before it's even begun, we're done.
We had some fucketry that I read this morning. I can't remember what it was. So I was like, oh, that's helpful for me to tell you that, huh?
Yeah, thanks, Mick. That really
look for my contribution. Go watch a 2 hour or 3 hour stream from this morning.
Hey.
Yeah, like I just didn't do much today.
That's fine. Sorry.
The stream right after this, 2 cents plus. Don't forget to come watch us. That's what I'll do for my time. We'll be playing 7 Days to Die, giving away a video game, and doing our best to entertain you as Satsu screams like a girl, because that is what the audience said happens.
That's bullshit.
That ain't bullshit.
Y'all are liars.
No, what happens, because we're often not together. We're close to each other, but not together, and you'll hear Satsu go, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What? What happened?" It's beautiful. It happens more often than you think. Is anybody watching the UFC event tonight? I want to know if Drug Boy wins or Cauliflower Ear.
Drug Boy or Cauliflower Ear? That sounds like Dick Tracy villains.
Yeah, no. John Jones is fighting. What's his name?
Martian Manhunter. Oh
no, he. They actually had to move the UFC event from Las Vegas to Inglewood, California, because there was still a little trace of doping in John Jones's blood, and they wouldn't give him a license to fight, so they had to move it. And there was a great, if you like this stuff, if you like this stuff, there's a great press conference from the other day where they're talking about it, and the press keeps asking him about this doping thing. And he's like, this don't even matter. Like, for fuck's sake. But this is a rematch of a fight from, I think, 2014. And I want to see people beat the fuck out of each other. I miss that.
Go on YouTube and just look up UFC fights or greatest.
I watched the original fight just before we started tonight. Because it's funny to me when people beat each other up. It's 5 minutes early. Chat, let's turn this over to you guys because I'm sorry. I'm useless tonight. Questions, comments, concerns, compliments, quotations, anything you'd like to throw at us. Now would be the time to throw it into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer it. Harbo says, try road rage vids. I watch those occasionally. God damn it. Gustafsson. Shit. I'm trying to say it, Peter. I know you got it.
Gustafsson.
Yeah, something like that. Will liberals ever support North American woman boy love? Do you mean
what?
NAMBLA?
Oh, yuck. Well, it depends on what kind of liberals you're talking about, because people who are like defending pedophilia as a sexual orientation, they might be on your radar.
What else do we have here? We'll be doing a monkey in the morning tomorrow. Right now, I kind of feel like a magic 8 ball. Ask again later. Monkey, why are you so
full of liquid?
What's that?
I said you're round and full of liquid.
Yes. Monkey, why are you so damn sexy? Genetics, man.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the worst moment of 2018 drama-wise? Ooh.
The worst? Like, I guess it depends on how you classify the worst. The one that would come, as far as like YouTube drama, first thing that comes to mind is probably Mundane Matt.
Yeah, probably that. That's a good answer.
That's a big one. Or either that, or was the Jake Paul and the Suicide Fort? Was that this year? Or was that last year? I can't remember now.
I believe it was this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah. So yeah, one of the. I mean, Jake Paul probably had more like wider thing, or actually, you'd probably name anything with PewDiePie this year would probably also qualify as a worst drama.
Oh yeah, was the Wall Street Journal shit this year? The article, or was that last year?
That was last year. That was 2017.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't know, man. I guess YouTube-wise, probably for me, the Mundane Matt thing was kind of a big deal. Just because it was like, somebody I knew, Yeah.
And it's also so like dramatic, like that whole lead up to it, between, the 2 hours or whatever of denials and then the sudden reveal. It was you almost couldn't script something that sort of like perfectly crafted to be a scandal.
Yeah, it was intense. Yeah. That was a spectacle to behold. That's for damn sure.
Can somebody read these for just a second? I'm sorry.
Let's see here. Where were we? Will ever liberals support North America?
We already talked about that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Will you be doing a monkey in the morning tomorrow? If he's smart, no, but he's not, so probably. Will you replace... Oh, wait. Lords of the Night, so you don't consider vape store clerk going ballistic or Grover dropping F-bombs as internet fucketry? I don't remember the vape store clerk thing. I didn't hear about that at all, but the Grover dropping an F-bomb was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. The vape store, I don't think of that as internet fucketry. That's just sort of like... I see video like scandalous videos or people freaking out videos all the time. One more person freaking out video doesn't really count to me because they're just so commonplace. Unless it was something really extraordinary and somebody going nuts because of a Trump supporter. It's so passe.
Yeah, can you replace YouTube time with reaction time? Probably not.
Reaction time.
Reaction time.
The Grover thing was funny as shit. I don't consider that really fucketry. And
that was just hilarious.
Yeah. You can't prove that's what he actually said either. Thank you, James Colley. Is the pain today from inflammation or did you take another tumble? If the latter, then I apologize for my earlier tweet. I think I haven't fallen or anything, guys. And don't ever apologize for making jokes. Making me laugh about this is how you help me out.
Don't be Bill Maher, guys. Don't be Bill Maher.
Don't fucking apologize to me for a joke. Captain Jack, thank you. All hail the mighty glow cloud. That's from Vice Night Vice. Shit, my memory. It's a reference from that series that he keeps promoting, which is actually it's pretty interesting. I can't remember the names. Shit, where are we? Oh, that's where we are. If there was a game of 2 cents plus, what would it be about?
It would be a game. It would be a game where you would work to build up skills, but there's a random chance that everything you worked for would just disappear out of nowhere. The game wouldn't reset, but as you gain powers and abilities throughout the game, it's just out of nowhere you'll just lose half of them for some supernatural reason, and you'd have to get through the end of the game with that happening at literally any moment. That's what that game would be. It wouldn't be fun.
I feel like it would be a black man running from a woman who wants to rape him.
What?
You would play as Satsu, and there would be a wild squishy chasing you down. Matta asks, whiskey or wine? Whiskey.
Wine.
Well, no, I mean, if we're talking like straight, probably wine. I don't drink whiskey straight, so it depends on what you mean. But yeah,
I'll drink whiskey straight.
Dark liquor is disgusting.
That's racist.
Yeah. Jeez, Satsu, what's wrong with you?
You told me to ask again later, so I'm asking zero. I don't know. If I'm awake, I'll probably do a monkey in the morning. What is Lords of the Night doing for New Year's? Well, we're boring around here. I will be here eating spray cheese.
Yeah, I'm hoping that my New Year's Eve will be one of everything lined up for work, and I don't have anything to stress out over to wait until Tuesday to have to deal with. That's my hope. Otherwise, yeah, I'll just be here hanging out with these guys.
Satsu?
Yeah, same deal. I pretty much said that if we don't end up doing the pushing Lords of the Night until later on, like we said we were going to do, so we can bring in the new year or whatever, then I'm just going to probably end up streaming around that time, so we can do that.
Fula asks, would you rather hate fuck burrito bitch or strap a midget to a ceiling fan and take her for a spin? If you've been listening for long enough, you shouldn't even have to ask that. That I want to spin a midget on my dick. I really do.
I think. Did you get Ethan's super chat?
No, thank you. Ethan Long, thank you. Still a better game than Fallout 76.
Oh,
look, I would totally play Run from Squishy. And the best part would be like she would throw things at you that makes your wiener slowly get more erect.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And it slows you down so she can catch you easier.
Oh jeez! Or like tempt you with food and makes you fat and you slow down, and then she catches you.
You're weighed down by the sheer girth, and then she catches you, and then the game turns adult rated. Jesus.
Where are we at here? Sorry, guys. I'm reading. Who falls down the stairs all by himself and trips over the neighbor's dog? It falls on chairs. It trips into walls. It's Monkey. That's not nice. It's not wrong.
You're redoing Log. Everyone loves Log. Do.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Will Philip Rivers make it into the Hall of Fame? Yeah, he will. Even if he with his numbers, absolutely.
I don't know who that is.
He's the quarterback for the Chargers. Lords of the Night, has the white YouTuber faded into obscurity, or is he lurking to catch some poor, unsuspecting person and make them into do a collab? Last I knew, Whitey was just stepping away from everything. I haven't talked to him probably in a year.
Oh God, I honestly haven't thought about that guy since the last time somebody asked about him.
I know Owl was what's Owl? That wasn't his name. It's his avatar. Whitey's buddy.
He was Grim.
Gemini.
Gemini. Yeah, some shit like that.
Gemini was around on Twitter for a little bit, maybe mid-year, I think it was, and then he did the same thing, just kind of disappeared. Thank you, Captain Jack. What was David Bowie's last hit? Probably heroin.
Oh,
that's dark. Oh, Satsu, don't forget the hoarding bonuses. Oh, yeah, because Satsu's a hoarder.
They talk about it in my game. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? It's another one of those things on the game where you get all the shit for it, even though I probably do it a lot more than you.
I know, because they can't see your inventory. That's what I said. You have the advantage of them not being able to see what you do, because most of the shit I get shit for, you fucking do too. But I can't prove it because they can't see it.
Yeah, if you guys pay attention to the boxes when he opens them, and then when he opens them the next time, you'll be like, "Where'd all that shit come from?" It's not him. Will you eat spray cheese on air, Monkey? Probably. I fucking love spray cheese, and I don't eat it very often. It's always been a New Year's thing for us with the kids. I don't know how it started, but it was just like hors d'oeuvres for the kids one year for New Year's, and it just became a thing. Is it true that weed is a gateway drug? No. I guess it can be, but
It can be, but
that doesn't make it the thing.
No, people are gateways to other things, not the drugs themselves. I mean, if somebody's doing pot and they happen to have a little Coke there with them, and you're hanging out with them, and you want to play the whole peer pressure game, people can lead you onto other drugs, but otherwise drugs don't do that.
Yeah, there are people who've smoked weed their whole life, and that's as hard as they ever went. Are candy canes just walking sticks for elderly elves? Yes. If so, why are you eating them, you monster?
Because they're so delicious.
Because fuck elves.
No, well, Monkey will, not me.
I mean, if regular people's canes tasted like candy canes, I would eat those too. It wouldn't matter.
Vor says, "Hey, did you guys see the screenshots of my base design I sent on Twitter?" I
did, but they weren't very clear. Like, I couldn't really tell what I was looking at.
I didn't see him. He says, "I don't know how else to send." You could throw him on what's the other Discord if you wanted to, but yeah, either way, I'll check and see if I can see him. When you go to take the screenshot of it, what I usually do for taking screenshots, that game is very resource heavy, and it's hard to run it at the highest settings, but take your picture at the highest setting and then lower them back to where you play. Oh shit. What do you guys think is a better Opio?
What?
OPIO.
Maybe they meant
opioid.
What do you guys think is a better opio, college or uni or UI? I'm guessing university. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know what an opio is then in that instance.
Thank you, Captain Jack. I hope death is a woman. That way it will never come for me. What did the elephant say to the naked man? How do you breathe through that tiny thing? I like that the first part of that, though. She'll never come for me. I hope death is a woman so that I can charm her.
In the Marvel universe, I know exactly who Death is, because Death was killed and then Death was replaced by a man.
Yeah, I don't want a male Death.
That's that stuff. Me knowing nerdy stuff about Marvel stuff.
Gemini told me he doesn't know where the white YouTuber is. Yeah, I don't think they live near each other. They just talked a lot. So, UFO says you need Super Bowl credentials to get into the Hall of Fame. No, you don't. Dan Fouts is in there, and he never won a Super Bowl. He never even got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so there. Monkey knows better than you. Yeah.
Well, he was also a Charger quarterback.
Oh, okay.
He set all kinds of yardage records because the Chargers love to throw the ball, and anytime they get a decent runner, they're like, "Oh no, we got to get rid of that. We like to look good and then lose spectacularly." It's true, man. RJ says I recently got the Logitech H540 UBS USB headset, and I love it, and it's $50. Cool. You can get a lot of headsets these days are perfectly fine for recording, for doing live streams. The only thing you got to be careful with those is breathing into the mic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really easy to do. Did you guys see Bible Reloaded's Lazy Attack on Undoomed? I didn't watch it, Jack. I know it happened. Didn't we talk about it briefly here? Just briefly.
It got brought up, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It sounds vaguely familiar. I haven't watched Bible Reloaded in a long time, honestly.
I know Sinatra, Drunkle, and Undoomed did a stream about it, but I didn't get to see all of that either. Monkey's clumsiness is down to him walking into things like, oh, dude, I walk into shit all the time. But luckily, I'm a big dude that I just bounce off that shit. Tosa said, if pretty ladies help you get elected, then why didn't Michelle Bachmann win the primary? Huh?
Michelle Bachmann? Are we talking about the same Michelle Bachmann? Because she's not very pretty.
I don't think pretty ladies help you get elected. The best way to get elected, honestly, is to be a decent-looking guy.
Pretty ladies got elected. I mean, there's been a couple of porn stars that have run for office, and I don't think they ever won. So,
weed is the gateway to pot boobies. I don't even know what that is.
Pot boobies?
Okay, I just saw my chat jumped and I see there's a bunch of hang on, guys. Kurt Cobain's thoughts on suicide was a no-brainer. Thank you, Cryptic. Peter says, this super chat is to tell you to check Streamlabs. Okay, I will. Just 1 second. And Pincalo, thank you. He shot to the top in a single blast. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you. I repressed all memories of the white YouTuber. Damn it, now I'm having cringe flashbacks. I liked Whitey. Whitey was, if you took him for what he was excellent. He was just he wasn't even he was like a Tourette's troll.
Okay.
Whatever he came into his mind, he said, and that wasn't always a good thing. And I'm not even talking, like saying something racist, just whatever random shit came into his mind. The only time that I streamed with Whitey and Gemini, they're on the air, and I come in and I sit there for like 5 minutes while they have an argument over whether egg salad sandwiches are actually a thing.
And this is coming from the guy regarding cereal is soup.
I admit that both cereal and soup are at least things. Whitey was absolutely convinced that Gemini had made up egg salad sandwiches.
Okay.
And they argued like 5 to 10 minutes before they even noticed I was actually in the stream. I like you guys. That's why I love them. You never knew what would happen with them.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Wouldn't run from squishy be like run like hell. I think Satsu needs to just give in to her every time.
I think he does, or at least doesn't consent.
I am it is a will for surrender.
We'll surrender. That's nice.
Okay, I finally found where I'm supposed to be. Gateway drug, because it's illegal, it gets you into contact with deals. Well, that's never what they. Well, yeah, maybe that's what he meant. Dealer. Oh yeah, he did say dealers on the next line. Hi, Squish.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't.
Summoned her.
That's not what they mean usually when they're talking about a gateway drug. They mean that it leads you start with this, and then you're gonna take that heroin next.
Right. It's like you ratchet up because marijuana just doesn't do it for you anymore. You need something stronger, and then this and this and this. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. If you have an addictive personality and you're exposed to the opportunity to take stronger things, yeah, you might end up doing that if you start out with pot. But it's not, one does not lead to the other by nature.
Serenity Lotus says, not a question, but ask Satsu about a stream he conveniently forgot about during YouTube time. Yeah, you did forget about that.
Oh yeah.
And Serenity says, I think it was because I showed him up during the hunts.
Who did what?
Serenity says she showed you up during Monster. He did a Monster Hunter stream this afternoon, guys.
I sure did, and I completely forgot about it. They did a collaboration with Assassin's Creed, and you got the skin that you can use, the Assassin's Creed Origins character. I forgot what his name is already, but you get to get that skin, and they gave you a new mantle. And Serenity joined me for a couple hunts, and utilized the trap twice and missed both times live on air. So, I don't think that qualifies as showing me up. When I actually used the trap, I hit him. But it was fun, Serenity. Thank you for joining me.
Satsu used a trap.
Mash says, Lords of the Night, is it true that what I saw on on Twitter earlier, that AOC could be in trouble because she supposedly blocked someone on Twitter? If she blocked someone on Twitter, yeah, she could be. With the Trump ruling, this has been Twitter's been declared a public space. She is a public official, an elected official.
Yep.
Yeah, so all those people who thought that was the greatest thing ever, Trump can't block us. Yeah, that goes for everyone.
If that is true and something does come out of it, oh, dude, I am so pumped to see these articles that come from the same places where they were just like, fuck you, Trump. Now you can't block us. They're just gonna be like, a woman is being attacked on Twitter and can't even utilize the protections put in place to help minority people. Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
Raz asks, you guys ever meet Dr. Feelgood? No, I have not.
What, the song?
What the song is referencing.
They're talking
I would imagine
Johnny Fever from WKRP in Cincinnati.
What was the best drama of 2018? Was it the Thought Audit?
Best drama? Like, are we talking about the internet stuff or in general? Because I think the greatest drama of 2018 was Kavanaugh.
Definitely.
I mean, we're talking about just like batshit crazy hysteria over absolutely nothing. Like nothing. Not only the fears of what he may or may not do as a justice, but also over what he was accused of doing without any evidence. That was the biggest drama of the year, I think.
If you mean best as in funniest, I mean, Thought Audit is definitely up there. But it's been such a long year. I couldn't tell you. Thank you, Connor. Why is it that most modern personal computers lack an internal disk drive? Because they expect you to download everything.
Yep.
A lot of the times when you buy a game, you're buying an empty box and you're getting a code to download it. Personally, when I built mine, I spent the $18 and just put a fucking hard or disk drive in mine.
The thing I don't get, though, is when you buy a brand new computer that does not have a disk drive in it, but they still give you like installation disks.
Yeah, I got that too with my new computer.
I'm just like, why?
There's no disk drive. There's obviously no floppy drive. There's no CD drive or DVD drive. It's just a box. And yet they gave me like, here's your Windows backup CD. I'm like, the fuck for?
That's for you to buy an external drive.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. Captain Jack, oh God damn you. Girls are like blackjack. I'm always going for 21, but I always end up hitting on 14.
Wow. I hope there's nobody in the FBI in the chat.
Is Satsu extra grumpy because Squishy is not giving him pussy because she's pregnant? Oh, dude, you've never been around pregnant women, have you? You know, I had this thought about you this afternoon. No, not this morning. I guess it was now. Do you realize about the 4th month of pregnancy, women's hormones take over and they tend to get really, really horny?
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew that already, but I was just laughing at the prospect that they thought that...
She gonna kill you.
I'm just like, y'all, do y'all not know how women work? Squishy is an info, not pregnant.
She's gonna kill you for real.
Dude,
man.
I'm gonna have to like hide away.
Satsu's gonna look like somebody sucked the life right out of him.
No, Satsu's gonna have to like crash at Monkey's place in secret. Like, hide me.
You remember how that dude looked on Scary Movie after he blasted that chick onto the ceiling?
Yes. Kyler says, if Twitter is a public space, then how can they justify banning people? Well, here's the difference.
Yeah.
The platform is still allowed to ban people. Politicians in the public eye who have public things up there are not allowed to block people because that is a violation of their First Amendment right. See, they can still violate the platform's rules and it not be a First Amendment. We talked about this when it happened because I said then it makes their rules just completely fucked. If you said something horrible to Donald Trump that they banned you over, then they're technically violating your First Amendment right because of that case.
Right.
So to answer your question, how? I don't know how they're getting away with it still because nobody's challenged it yet. What else do we have here? Data's a joke. I bought one of those tapes to teach you Spanish in your sleep. During the night, the tape skipped. Now I can only stutter in Spanish.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I like that one. I don't know why they're talking about Riley as a bird.
I don't know, but that sounds less like a joke and more like just an inconvenient thing that happened to someone.
Oh God. Let's see what else we have here. Have you guys seen the Thad Ranger and the Adam and Eve.com trilogy? No.
No.
Satsu?
No, I have no idea what that is.
There you go. They're talking to each other. And Monkey, is it true? Is it not true women don't want sex during pregnancy because you're going to hit the baby? I don't even know how to address that.
That's one of those questions your kids ask you, and you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah. That's it.
If your woman thinks like that, she doesn't understand her own body. My experience has been that pregnancy makes women horny as hell. Thank you, Pincalo. Month 7 through 9 will be your break, Satsu, when she hates you. Yeah. Was I pissed off when the Chargers moved to LA? Why are you saying that as a past tense thing? I'm still pissed off. I refuse. Every time I play Madden and they introduce the Los Angeles Chargers, I say fuck you to my screen. Dax has got to hear me play because him and Bear wanted me to join him on a call, so I joined him on a Discord call the other day while I was playing Madden. And Dax is convinced I need to be live streaming that. And I said, I wish I could. He thinks I'm very funny because I yell at my screen a lot. Worst actor, actress ever. That's hard.
Sofia Coppola.
Who was the little kid that played Anakin in Phantom Menace?
Jacob Lloyd.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
Jake Lloyd, yeah.
But go ahead.
Literally every white person in an infomercial.
I don't know. Some of those guys, they sound like they're actually enthusiastic about their products.
They really do.
No, not the ones that are selling it, because those people are pretty convincing. All the actors, they get to act out the "Has this ever happened to you?" And and they'll be like pouring a bowl of cereal and the fucking refrigerator will explode or some shit. It's just like, no, that's never fucking happened to me.
Adam says Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is actually a decent actor.
He can be a very good actor.
He can be a very good actor.
And thank you, Nuts, for throwing the link there. Yeah, guys, we'll be over on 2 Cents Plus playing 7 Days to Die, and you can win a game if you come over and watch us, or you can just be entertained by two stud muffins. Harvo says, what do you think is the stupidest statement made by this year's grand morons politicians in 2018?
Well, I mean, Ocasio-Cortez kind of takes the cake, but I'd probably say the guy that I quoted on my video today, that Donnelly guy at that debate where he's like talking about his staff and how, you know, this one lady is African American, but she's even more talented than you can imagine. And one of my staff members is Indian American, and she's really, really smart. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Cortez, just because not knowing the branches of government. As an incoming, yeah, that's I don't know how you get past 4th grade without knowing that. Let's see. Do you think Fuller House is the worst show on Fuller House? I don't understand that question.
Yeah.
Oh, Fuller House.
Well, Fuller House is the Full House like reboot sequel series or whatever.
Backscan says, "What's the funniest anti-drug PSA?"
You all right? I learned it by watching you.
Yeah, but the funniest PSA ever is still the one about how the homosexuals are coming. Hey, you got to look out. What he didn't know is that Dan is a homosexual. It's from like the 50s.
Jesus,
it is fucking amazing. It's all about how this homosexual is going to turn this kid homosexual because he gave him a ride home one time.
Yeah.
It is bad.
Was that the black and white one with the really
yes
weird guy with the glasses and the mustache? Yeah,
that
is something else. Did they have that? Was that on MST3K?
I'm not sure. I first saw it as somebody linked me the video on YouTube, and then I know Bear recently, and by recently I mean like sometime this year, did a video response to it.
Yeah,
it's awesome though. It is funny. It's so bad. Oh, I forgot about that one. Weeds turning the kids gay. There's so many bad ones. You know, even this is your brain on drugs was fucking stupid.
There was way too many hot takes to pick just one.
The one the other one I remember was you see this girl like dancing around in a circle, and the voice of presumably the girl says, "When I grow up, I want to be a ballerina." And then the creepy narrator's voice comes and says, "Nobody says when I grow up, I want to be a drug addict." And
yes.
And then she falls over like she's dead because she was actually high. Yeah. That was fucking hilarious.
Jay Reynolds says, thoughts on I don't know how to say her name. Mayim Bialik, the chick who.
Yeah, Mayim Bialik.
There we go. Instagram meltdown where she has to sleep on her couch due to cat feces and urine on her bed. That
was so bizarre.
I didn't see it.
I saw a thing about it, and I was just kind of like, why the hell is she? Is this one of those like, you know, Hollywood stars breaks down like Margot Kidder kind of thing or something?
Jack threw a link in chat. What is that for? Oh, that's for the video. The the gays are coming to get you. That was so bad. Guys, we got 3 minutes left. After this, we'll be over on 2 Cents Plus playing 7 Days to Die. You could win Injustice, the original one. It's not the second one. So, and it's the Ultimate Edition. What's the most horrendous political ad for 2018? To be honest, I didn't watch. I don't watch regular TV, so I don't see most of them.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't answer. Jack, thank you again. Captain Jack, thank you. Why do birds appear every time you are near? It's likely they planted a tracking device on you. Welcome to Night Vale. Actually, we've determined that in Satsu's case, he's got birdseed on his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from Doctor Doom, who should be the next Avengers villain and who should play them? Ooh.
Well, he shouldn't be the Avengers villain. He should be the Fantastic Four's villain.
Yeah. And done properly.
But after Thanos and everything, the next Avengers movie, I'm thinking it's either going to be Kang the Conqueror, or they'll go more down to earth again and find who'd be a good one? Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry. I think they ruined the franchise by bringing Thanos in.
Well, they've been building up to it for a while. It's really hard to scale down after that, you know.
Exactly. This was the problem. I call it the Buffy problem because if you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I loved, by the way, the first person she fought was just this super vampire, and she ends up fighting a Frankenstein's monster, and they build it on, and then they get to a point where she actually fights a god. She fights and kills a god.
I know what it's going to be.
And then after that, I mean, how do you top that?
I know what it's going to be. They've already set it up. It's going to be the secret invasion. It's going to be the scrolls have taken over, and so it's going to be sort of a quasi Civil War thing again, where everybody's going to be, actually, it could work because if they do it like a Manchurian Candidate kind of thing, or if they do it like John Carpenter's The Thing, where you don't know who the bad guy is. And the suspicion and the uncertainty about who's who and who's being honest or who's real, if that becomes the enemy, if they make paranoia the enemy amongst the Avengers rather than like a big galactic threat for a lot of it, that could work. But it would take very careful construction to make that happen.
Yeah, I think they just went too big, and I understand why they do, and I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. I don't see where they go very well. You're right. That might work.
Yeah, I think that's the only place they could go to, because that whole secret invasion thing requires a cast of heroes having to sort of be uncertain about each other, and that really sounds more like an Avengers scenario than like your one-off movie scenario. Even though Captain Marvel's going to set it up, but yeah.
And with that, guys, that does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for putting up with my unprofessionalism tonight. And thank you for all the super chats. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. Scribbles, Satsu, a pleasure as always. Everyone, come join us on 2 Cents Plus. We'll be playing 7 Days to Die, giving away a copy of Injustice. Speaking of comic books, nice segue. And as always, guys, your lives make us sad, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.